Hey, Michael, sorry, I was chewing on a Pop-Tart. What's up? Quarantine is something, that I'll tell you that for sure. It's not easy with two people in the house working, 40-hour work weeks, and we're a room apart, so we hear everything each other is saying, and we're just stepping on each other's toes, and it's fun. I think it's been very similar to that for most of everyone, right? How about you? How's quarantine treating you guys? The only uh, the only person happy with this quarantine is my little dog right there that's had me home pretty much constantly. And now that I'm talking on something, she's staring at me like, "Oh, hi, Dad. You want to play?" Yeah, I feel that. I feel that, Michael. I have a feeling when everything's said and done, this is going to make us appreciate a lot of the little things that we take for granted. You want to come up and say hello to everybody? It's my little Cocker Spaniel, Kona. Say hi, Kona. Hi to my class. Oh, I love pugs. And now she's staring out the window because she thinks that someone's here based off of how I just told her to say hi. Right? Welcome to class, Kona. Yes, I know I'm talking to you. I said your name. Thankfully, I don't have that problem with Kona. She's really good. She'll hold it as long as she might need to until we would get home or something like that. I don't think we've ever seen her have an accident just because she couldn't hold it anymore since she was a puppy. Oh, very nice, Carmen. Like I said, at least talking with other people could be a nice little refresher, especially if you're like me and it's basically talking to the same people every single day about the same things. Yeah, hopefully this ends pretty soon. It's right now I'm just playing the guessing game with everything because for our class we don't know if we're back in the classroom or if we're staying online for the rest of the semester, anything like that. Everything's based off of the state. Basically, the way that everything progressed, not just for our school, but for almost every big company, I think, in the state, is they don't know anything until the state decides when this lockdown might get lifted. Then they can start making up their own decisions on what they want to do. So this whole the problem that becomes for our classes, we don't have the information to just say, let's just do, we're going to be online the rest of the semester, and we'll make things a lot easier. I can get information up for you guys. At least then you could start looking through the whole semester and get an idea of, okay, this is what I should do, this is what I should do that. We can't even do that right now. We have to basically wait until, I think at April 1st, I think right before it that week on that Monday is when we'll finally have the more information about how long we're going to be online for and what we should plan for. So like I said in the announcement, I'm going to post information for next week for you guys later this week, because that's for sure we're going to be online. But beyond that, I'm kind of waiting a little bit. Oh, and on Netflix, all of the pandemic and things like that, they've been in the top 10 pretty much every day. Carmen, I mean, it's so hard for, I've seen so many funny memes, but I've seen so many sad stories about how difficult it is to work with your kids in the house. My wife is on a conference call today, and I just randomly heard a someone's child just started screaming on the line, and everyone just started laughing. I'm in the other room, and I started laughing. It's just so hard because, as a parent, now you're dealing with school for you, and you're dealing with having to homeschool your kids to some degree, even though every school has something in place. It's limited. Keeping sane is going to be a big challenge from this. I mean, depending on when you started, I started basically doing this social distancing right when the school kind of paused for a little bit. So I've been practicing this for a little over a week, basically. So it hasn't been like the lockdown didn't change anything for how I was personally treating everything. So I now at that, what is it, like 10 days or something like that, maybe. Now I'm at the point where I don't know what to do with my free time every single day. So, I'm spending all of my time doing, little bits of research and writing for a book that I'm thinking about, just kind of outlining some chapters. And then you do everything you could do for the classes. But right now that I'm in this waiting game, I don't even know what to do with myself. I've gotten to the point where there's nothing left that interests me on Netflix. So I'm struggling right now on what to do. It's hard just to stay sane. Thankfully, we had that day last week that was so warm. I don't know if you guys did anything, but I went for a nice little walk, just getting the fresh air. It helped a lot. I hope we get another warm day that fairly soon. But I think we're getting some weather. I know obviously it's raining today. I think we're getting some weather a couple days this week, maybe. Yard work. I would actually welcome yard work. I've been struggling so much. I live in a little apartment, so I don't have any yard work to do, and I'm on the second floor, so I can't really like do a lot of exercising because my neighbor's downstairs. I've never wanted a Peloton or something like that so much. I'm so limited on what I can do. It's not like I can really be jumping around. Feeling cooped up. Um, and yeah, the higher education was more prepared, and some high schools were pretty prepared for something like this that have a lot of online teaching in place. And in college, a lot of your professors have a lot of online training. Like I teach online a lot, and a lot of the other professors either teach online, have some familiarity online, or really reached out to those of us who did just to figure out what type of things to do, how to do them, things like that. High school, they have a lot of online classes, maybe not as prepared, but still prepared. But when you get below high school, and even a lot of the high schools that don't have online education in place, what to do? There's been, trying to do like virtual field trips and things like that, anything educational, just trying to fill things in. It's rough with that. Um, so this week's all about social psychology. So what you have on, let me load it up so I can read it from the order that everything is. So what you have in the module for this week, I have to drag this up. sorry about that. To those who were in my 11 a.m. Tuesday, Thursday class, I forgot to reorder the modules. I just fixed that right now. So now what you see is on the very top of that page for my classes should be the module for this week. If you ever need to go to a older module, it's still there. It's still available. You just scroll down on that homepage and until you get to the dates. But every module will always be labeled for the dates of the week. I thought that would be the easiest way for everybody to just know what's this week. For this week, it's all about social psychology. So there are 5 things that are linked in the module. The first one, and I can't stress this enough, make sure every week you read that what's happening this week, that introduction for everything. That's where I will always tell you exactly what to do, what you're doing, so on and so forth. But you have to get to all this information through the modules. I know for some of your other classes, you can get to the discussion board by just clicking the word discussion board on your navigation bar on your left. And I know that for our class, you can get directly to the discussion board just from looking at your to-do list on the right. What I need from everyone to do, though, is to look at the module each week. So that's why it's on your homepage. So it should be staring at you right in the face when you log in. So for social psychology, there's a bunch of information for you. The first one is the PowerPoint, and it's the same PowerPoint that we were going to cover if we were in the classroom. It's still there for you. The third link that's there is a lecture of me. So I have the PowerPoint loaded up, and I'm talking about a couple of slides in particular. I'm going to do this every week. I'm going to post a video, pay attention. So I'm going to try to keep them to 10 minutes. That means that I might only be focusing on maybe like 5 slides of the whole PowerPoint. Or I might be going through, a lot of slides, but very quickly. Each week will be a little different. For this week, I'm really just focusing on the tail end of the PowerPoint a little bit. Make sure you look through all the other slides, but I'm going to focus on whatever I think can make the best use of 10 minutes. I can always post more information for those who want a little bit more. But make sure you take a look at that. Always keep them to 10 minutes so that it's not too much of a time investment. I also posted this week, and most weeks I'm going to post something extra that's just for like helping to understand information, helping to apply everything. So there's a crash course psychology video. I'm going to probably be using a lot of crash course psychology videos for that. And that one's pretty short too. I want to say it's about 10 minutes as well. Then you just have a discussion question. The only thing graded this week is the discussion question. And that'll be for most weeks. You'll probably have one thing that's graded and probably about 3 things on average probably that you need to take a look at. The average week will probably be taking a look at a PowerPoint, a video lecture from me, 1 extra video, and then the one thing that's graded. So for this week, what's graded, you do have to watch a YouTube video for. That's on the discussion forum. Depending on how we go, I have a lot of things in my mind about. I might use an article for one of them. I might have you guys do some research for one of them. But I think the most inviting for them will probably be just having you all take a look at that YouTube clip. Look at YouTube videos for the post. So for this week, you click on the discussion forum. There's 2 videos. One of them is a documentary, so that's 30 minutes. That's going to take some time to watch. And the other one's a really quick video. I think it's 6 minutes. And then I ask you a bunch of questions. And the only thing graded for this week is you answering those questions. The main post that you guys make, I have the news on in the background. I should lower that volume. The main post that you're writing is going to be 250 words on the discussion board. That equals 1 page double spaced. So really, you don't have to count the words. You can just eyeball it to that. It's a 250 word essay. And yeah, including a video link or a meme. If you're doing a YouTube video link, try to keep it kind of short. I guess you can give a 20-minute video and just say, watch the first 5 minutes or something like that. But try to keep it to a 5-minute video if you want to do a video link, or if you want to do a meme. Have fun. That's there so that you have some fun with it. I do that in my online classes. My traditional online classes, they actually have to post both a video and a meme, and the students love that. The students love doing that because that's where you kind of help to really understand everything at the end of it. So have fun with it. but it's not something that you have to put tons and tons of thought in. It's meant to be something that you have fun. The only thing I ask is that it kind of summarizes what you were talking about. And it's a 250-word essay. And then what you're going to do for this week is reply to 2 classmates. The instructions for each week might be a little different. It's not going to be this exact same every week. 1 week when we do our discussion board posts, if they're going to be online, you'll be responding to a lot more classmates, but your main post won't be as involved. What I'm thinking about doing when we get to personality is going to be, instead of writing a 1-page response, we'll be writing a 2-page response, but you'll have no replies that you have to do for that week. So every week will be a little different. That's why you have to read the instructions for the week, that weekly introduction. But for this week, 250-word essay, YouTube video link or a meme or something like that that summarizes what you're talking about, replies to 2 classmates. I want the main post to be done by Wednesday for this week, and then your replies to those 2 classmates by Friday. And that's due on different days, so that way people have posts to reply to on Friday. If I just made it due on Friday, I would be too concerned that there would be like no posts that are done, so people don't have anything to reply to or anything like that, and that would just cause a lot of stress. So Wednesday and then Friday for the two reply posts, and that's it. Make sense? Questions about it, Carmen, or anyone else? I'm going to check the chats as well. As far as assignments are concerned, every week's going to be about this much work. It'll be done a little differently, but this is what I'm going to target for as far as what you're doing for work for grades. I'm going to target about that. So every week, like I said, will be different. I'm going to try to give you guys a 10-minute lecture video, like a 10-minute other video, and a PowerPoint. Going through the PowerPoint, I mean, I don't want you to just breeze through it. Make sure you look at the content. Going through the PowerPoint, reading the chapter from the book, taking a look at those 2 videos is probably going to equal about the work of one of the 2 classes that we would have for each meeting. So for half of our class time for the week. And then I'm going to give you guys an assignment that basically would fill in that other amount of work for each week. So I'm not trying, and at this time, I want to give you guys, obviously I have to give you guys enough work that I can know that you're understanding a chapter, but I don't want to overwhelm. I don't want, everybody has a whole lot going on, like you said, with your dealing with your kids and everything like that, on top of school and everything going on with paying attention to the news. It's a lot of work. I don't want to overwhelm anyone. I don't want us moving online to be a reason that someone ends up struggling in the class. I want us moving online to still be something that you're learning, but something that we're just overcoming and everyone's doing well in the class. That's my goal from it. Next week, I will have information up for next week, later this week. But next week, the plan is going to be to do exam 2 next week. So I'm going to have you take a look at the development PowerPoint. I'm going to give you that video lecture for development, have you read the book, and then I'm just going to have you guys do the take-home exam for what would in essence be that Thursday class, and the Tuesday class would be just talking about development. Or if you're in my Monday class, that means once a week, first half and the second half of class time. Yeah, and then we'll figure everything out from there. I'm planning on having the whole semester information up for everybody. Probably April 1st is when you'll see everything start going up. I'm hoping that by April 1st, they make a decision on if we'll be online for the rest of the semester or if we're going to try to bring everyone back in the class. Because my thoughts is that if we're at April 1st and we know that we're still at least 2 weeks, let's say, away from being able to be back in the classroom. Well, to me, that would be saying, at that point, we're coming back into the classroom for at most 2 weeks. So I think we can make a plan for the rest of the semester. So as soon as I get that information, and I think we'll have more of an idea, because as the news is developing, it doesn't sound like this is going to be, the second week of April, we're able to get back into the classroom. So I think it's going to be what ends up happening, but I could absolutely be wrong. So for right now, I'm going to post what's going on next week. Um, Either Wednesday or Thursday, probably Thursday, but Wednesday or Thursday, you'll have information for next week. And I'm hoping that next week I'll have the whole semester the rest of the way up. I'm hoping that we will. I'm hoping that next week is when we'll have that official decision. The problem that's happening, so like I told you guys, first day of class, I'm an IO psychologist. This is actually one of the weird times that my degree is like really, really in demand and like useful for the world. So businesses right now, their hands are tied. That's not just our school; it's everywhere. Uh, Smaller businesses, basically, as soon as the state says that they can be open, they're going to be open. But for enterprise companies, for the schools, for bigger businesses and things like that, they really are just waiting for the state to give an update. Right now, it's not looking like things are going to stop April 1st. If I were to make a guess, I would say that April 13th would probably be a possibility that some things start to open up. But until they make that announcement, there's not much that the school can say. So my hope is that next week we'll have a better idea, because at that point I think the school can look at this, say, okay, the best case scenario would be that we would be meeting face to face for 2 weeks for the rest of the semester or something like that. And then they might be able to just say, let's do things online the rest of the semester. I also think they're waiting to see the feedback from all the professors on how students are handling the change. And the hard part is, some students are going to struggle with the change of it because not everyone has the training to use Canvas, and that's why I had that quick discussion board assignment for you guys, is to try to not just have a big discussion board question. You have to figure out how to use it and answer it. But we'll see. I'm hoping that next week we'll have information up for the rest of the semester. And then at that point, even if something it happens and it's great and everything is safe again, that we move back on in person. Maybe then it's just tweaking one little thing, as opposed to I really don't want to have to post 1 week at a time the rest of the semester for you guys. That's uncertainty on me and on you, and that's something I really want to avoid. So my hope is that next week we'll have at least more information, even if it's not a decision, that we can proceed accordingly. But right now, I'm waiting for information. You guys are waiting for information from me. I'm waiting for information from my department, and my department's waiting for information from the school, who's waiting for information from the state. So keep going, further and further. We're waiting for information about what the world is going to be from Governor Murphy and how things are going to look. But fingers are crossed for me that we'll have a decision. We'll be able to figure things out for you next week, I think. Um, I am clicking on a different tab for just a second. I want to make sure that no one's asking me questions in the chat for the classes, because I don't have those up right now. Just seeing if anybody happened to have been. But it seemed like everybody that was stopping in the live stream was chatting on the actual YouTube chat box. So just making sure. And it does look like nobody is chatting on the Canvas chat room, so we should be good there. I'm going to make an announcement about this as well, but I want to try to move this from YouTube to Zoom for these streams, but I potentially could keep the streams on YouTube as well if it's easier for you guys. But since I have a few of you here that are definitely able to use it on YouTube, if I was to give you a link to, instead of the website YouTube, I was to give you a link to Zoom, is that something that you guys would be comfortable with as well? I don't know if some of you may have used it before. Okay. I wasn't familiar with Zoom. I knew what it was. I've never used Zoom. Um, I never even thought about it as a possibility, but it was something that was brought up to me the end of last week. So we started. I started looking into it a little bit. I want to make sure that I'm going to be able to use it without any technology issues before I can do that. But the problem I ran into on Thursday was I can't share my screen on YouTube. My computer isn't updated enough. I think that might not be the problem on Zoom. Um, so I just haven't used it yet. But it sounds from everyone's been using it during this time. It sounds like it could be great. Being able to actually like video conference for somebody can turn on their webcam if they have interest as well. I know a lot of people, a lot of my friends, that's how they're talking to their family and things like that. So I'm going to look into that between now and Thursday. Well, not tomorrow. Wednesday or Thursday morning, I'm going to start looking into that a whole lot more. And I think on Thursday, hopefully, I'll switch it over to Zoom. If you already have it for another class, that's perfect. The school was awesome. The school gave all the professors access to it through the school and everything like that. So it's definitely something I want to look into. Big Blue Button. I have not even heard of it. I'm going to load it up in another tab and I'll take a look at it after this is over. Big Blue Button. Oh, is that the Canvas one? No, maybe not. I will take a look after our stream's over and see which one makes the most sense to move to. The only one I don't want to use for something like this is the studio that's available on Canvas. That can be useful, I think, to record a video for somebody that needs me to record something for them. But I want to have a forum where I can have, it's not that I just have to have one for each class. I want to make it open so that people from all of my classes can come in to ask me questions all at the same time. So that way, if there's one, for whatever reason, you couldn't make one, you can always come in, even if we're like, even for the Tuesday, Thursday classes. I know a few of you are in here right now that aren't in my Monday class. So I don't want to do it as a live stream through Canvas. I can always record something, but I think that's just as easy to just do on YouTube as well. All right, let me catch up on chat real quick. Okay, I will take a look and I'll do a little investigating on how demanding these all are on bandwidth. So Keith, YouTube works with you without a problem if you're doing it through YouTube like this? Okay, if you guys don't like Big Blue Button compared to Zoom, then I'm not even going to really investigate that one as a possibility. But do you think Zoom is better than YouTube? Is the quality of my webcam really bad for you guys today? At least on me, it looks like really, really grainy. I can always pull out my, I have a webcam. YouTube works okay. Okay. Do you think it's easier then if I just keep things on YouTube with this? I mean, the problem would be if I can't screen share. But so far, it hasn't really come up too often that I would need to screen share. So if that's going to really be the case, okay, perfect. Then it probably is just on my end that it looks a little grainy. I do have another webcam that's in the cab, but the one on my laptop I usually use works without a problem. Okay, if a couple of you prefer it on YouTube, I'll just keep things on YouTube for now. It's what I have kind of established with everyone. I know this has been working without any problems. I'll still look into Zoom because maybe I'll use that if anybody needs like one-on-one chat with me. we can always talk on the telephone. But if that's something that maybe would work better for like a one-on-one in case, I'll still look into to using Zoom a little bit. But I'll keep things on YouTube then. If that's what you guys think, it's working better. It's streaming without a problem. Bandwidth is working. Acting like I'm really good with technology. I don't even know if it's bandwidth or upload or what it would be. Cool. All right, so I'll stick to YouTube then. And then I will still look into Zoom. Maybe I can look into Zoom for like one-on-one, or if there's um, something that it needs to be on a case-by-case basis. But we'll stick to doing these on YouTube. As long as you guys are coming in, you have some questions, want to chat. Monday and Thursday, I'm going to keep doing them. And if it starts to be like the second stream I had on Thursday, had 3 people I think show up. So if it gets to be that people aren't showing up, maybe I'll cut it down from the 2 different streams on Thursday and the one on Monday down to 2 or something like that. And if people just don't need them later on, we'll just do them. You email me and say, hey, I want to chat, and I'll load this up for you, and we can always chat that way too. I could see Zoom being really good for the one-on-one things. I could definitely see that working really, really well. And like I said, you guys can reach out to me whenever you have questions through anything. The only problem that I had this week is I was getting a lot of questions on Snapchat that needed me to go on my computer to look something up, like did you receive this assignment and things like that. Email me those kind of questions because then I'm on my computer. I can check right away. And right now, more than ever, I've been really strict about when I'm on my computer for work and when I'm not, just because otherwise I'm going to be 24/7 just constantly looking at emails and things like that. So that helps me if you email me if I need to check, like if you got an assignment. But if you just have a question about anything, you message me on Snapchat. You can message me through email. We can schedule a time for something on YouTube or Zoom. I can screencast things if you can't find things, whatever you guys need. And I'm pretty much on my computer for most of the day, each day. But what I've started to do is take a couple of hours to just get my own sanity back a little bit towards the end. Cool. All that sounds good. All right. I know a couple of new people stopped by. Anybody have any questions about anything? Is there anything I can address for anyone? More than anything, to me, that's why I keep stressing, like, this can just be something that we come and chat about what's going on and everything like that. I mean, I've been watching the news more than I ever have in my life, and all I deal with, it's talking with my wife, having full conversations with my dog, and then my family who's asked me the same questions every single time that I speak to them. So it's refreshing just to kind of talk to other people. I I mean, with this change in the middle of the semester, I don't like it right now. But I do prefer, in general, teaching online because teaching online, it gives me, I know that every one of you then have the internet in front of you. So I have more opportunity. I can cater things more around each student as opposed to when we're in the classroom. What I have to do in the classroom is cater things for the whole class. So, like one of the videos that we would use in the classroom, I might not use that video online. I might be able to cater things more to, for those that this is going to work for, go this direction, and I can have um, examples that are using, instead of only using a one size fits all clip from the Big Bang Theory or something, I can use a clip from, people who have a big interest in Marvel. I can have a clip from one of the Marvel movies. Then I can have um, a big, not a TED talk, like a crash course psychology video for if this fits a little bit better. Um, I can talk about more specialized interests, I guess is what I'm saying, and that will end up having whoever that is interested in that, they'll have an easier time learning that way. Very cool. Who's your boyfriend? I do like online teaching a whole lot, and some of the aspects, like with the discussion board, where I'm asking you to post either a meme or a YouTube video, that's something that I would post in my online class. They would do both of them every single week, and the discussion boards would kind of have more of a they're the same structure every week. For what we're doing for this, it's not going to work that way. It's going to be a little different every single week on what I have for the assignments. Um, the name sounds familiar, but the truth is, I'm trying to think more about. But in an online class, it kind of is just the name. But it does sound familiar. If if you have good time management skills, an online class is easier than a face-to-face class. The thing is, if you fall behind in an online class, it becomes insurmountable pretty quick to catch up. So it's really test your time management. You're doing more work because you're doing something every single week that's due for a grade, as opposed to a face-to-face class where you might every other week or every third week on average have a graded assignment. Um, but the assignments that you're doing are smaller. And I can do in an online class, I can even have a class where I don't have an exam. Whereas in a face to face class, an exam is really the only way I can consistently assess how well you're understanding the class. So it opens up some different opportunities. But the things that you need to be successful in an online class, you need to, A, of all, be able to use the technology of it. That's the part where if you struggle a little bit with using Canvas, you're just set so far behind because of technology. And B of all, you need to have time management because falling behind becomes basically almost an insurmountable thing. And that seeing that the technology issue, that's always the problem if you're doing it online. That's always the problem. Is if you struggle with technology, it's such a big burden. And that's one thing I've learned as a professor teaching online is don't add too much technology to the class. It's already for, dealing with Canvas and things like that. It's already a little bit. YouTube's easy for me because most people use YouTube now every single day pretty much just to watch something like that. I just got three different or two or three or four different YouTube clips that were texted to me yesterday. So I'm constantly, and I'm sure that's true for most of you, that you're constantly checking YouTube. That's not too hard. But when you start to add these other things, I've had my unsuccessful times teaching online was when I started doing too much, where I video edited different things and had that things become interactive where they were interacting with the video. It becomes too challenging. So it became easier for me because I don't have to keep advancing and becoming more tech savvy myself. It's not like I need to now be able to uh, there's different programs for it, but like being able to do advanced video editing or photoshopping or anything like that, I really don't have to do that kind of stuff. I just have to keep things streamlined so that the internet is readily available and used because that works for everyone. I go, what? Keith, for step 3, you're going to need 2 articles. You can use more, but you need minimum of 2. So you'll use the one that you used for step 2 and then 1 more. Or if you wanted to use 3, I would not recommend for anyone to use more than 3, because then it's going to get a little bit more complicated. You're just doing more work than you need to. But what I do see, I'd say 80% of people just use 2 articles, and maybe 20% of the class will end up using 3, because there'll be one article covers, let's say one article covers 40% of what you want to talk about, one article covers 40%, but you still need that third article for that like last 20% that you wanted to talk about. That's when I see people use 3 articles, but I wouldn't use more than 3. And I would recommend, if you don't need to use 3, just use 2. Don't add more work onto what you have to do. You're very welcome, Keith. So I'm going to post a specific video for you guys about what goes into step 3. I'm not going to post that though until probably I'll post it around the 13th of April that week. 13, 14, 15, somewhere in that week, I'll post a video that's just about writing up the final paper. So I'll go into a lot more specific, but to give you guys the basics of it, you're taking 2 articles. You have the research worksheet for Article 1, and you're going to write a research worksheet for Article 2. That second one I'm not grading, so just do a bullet points just on the side. And what you're basically going to do is talk about what's in the research worksheet for Article 1, what's in the research worksheet for Article 2, because that's in essence summarizing the article. So what you're going to do in step 3, summarize Article 1, summarize Article 2, and then the third part that you're going to do is the really important one, is you're going to talk about the significance of them together. You're going to now talk about Article 1 and Article 2 together and what they mean for answering the bullet point question that you started with in the library session. So talking about Article 1 is basically just putting the research worksheet and putting it into essay format. Then you're doing the same thing for Article 2. That's going to be what was in Article 1, what was in Article 2. So as long as you did the research worksheet really well, you probably have about 30% of your paper basically done. You just have to now put that in an essay format. But the last section is really important. So the last section that you're going to do is talk about them together. So it's comparing and contrasting, but it's more than just comparing and contrasting. It's talking about what makes them important together. So that's not what just makes this one article important. That's going to be in that first section. Not just what makes Article 2 important. That's in the second section. What makes them important together in answering the question that you have. So if there's parts of the question, the bullet point question, that you don't have answered from these 2 articles, you'll talk about that. I mean, that's why some of you guys might use a third article there as well. But for the most part, it's just talking about why they're significant together. So if the way that they're going to happen, assuming we are online, and if we go back in person, they're going to be as they normally would be. And that's why I keep pushing the assignment back, is if we are going to be online, even if we ended up pushing the assignment back, 3 weeks later than it should have been presented, that way it's consistent with everyone else. But as it's looking more and more likely that we might be online for the rest of the semester, the groups that still have to present are all going to present the same week. So social and memory, and then for my Monday class, we still need to do the development one as well. They're all going to present the same week. The way that we're going to do it is the group is going to submit to me just through email, either PowerPoint slides or a 2-page paper as the group, not each person in the group, one for the whole group. Some of you guys already have been working on a PowerPoint, so if you've been working on the PowerPoint, you're just going to submit the PowerPoint. And if you haven't done the PowerPoint, put it together in an essay format. Let's say your group has 4 people in it. That means each person is writing a half of 1 page towards that. I'm going to then post either a link to that PowerPoint or a link to that. I'm either going to post a link to the PowerPoint or a link to that paper on the discussion board for, let's say, memory, since you're in the memory group. We're going to post in the memory discussion board. You'll have a link to that article or PowerPoint that everyone takes a look at. Then each person in your group, so the PowerPoint slides for the essay is one for your whole group. The other part of this is each individual person in your group is going to be responsible for one discussion question. That one discussion question, you can do it if you want, but it's probably going to be easier for me if I post the discussion question for everyone. The rest of the class that's not in the memory group, their responsibility is going to be to pick 2 out of those questions to reply to. So if you're in a group of 4, you'll have 4 discussion questions. Everyone has to respond to 2. So probably law of average is probably going to say you're probably going to have to respond to about 10. You're probably going to have about 10 classmates respond to your discussion question. Your job will be just to moderate that forum. So you're replying to everyone that answers your question. You're replying to them. You're going to reply to them and link it to something that you were talking about in your PowerPoint slides or that was in the article. You might correlate them to, it seems like you have a very similar stance as Carmen does, or it seems like you disagree with Michael, and you might just kind of highlight one person to another person that answered your same question, and that's your job then for your forum, is just to maintain that. The rest of the class, the job is going to be to reply to 2 of the 4 questions in the memory discussion. Let's say then the same week the social discussion's running. Let's say the social group has 5 people in it, so now they have 5 questions that are available to them. They still have to pick 2 of those 5. So in essence, that'll mean that everyone in class is going to respond to 4 different discussion questions. And if you're in the memory group, you're maintaining your one that you came up with, that you created, and then you just have to reply to 2 discussion questions on the social one. Does that make sense? Is that clear? I'm going to post more specifics about that, and I'm going to do that that forum. I'm going to do that forum with you guys, so that'll be the exam. I will do that forum the week of April 13th to April 17th, so it'll give you a tiny bit of time to adjust, get everything in for me. Yeah, I think I'll do it the 13th. I don't want to necessarily say let's do it on the week of the 6th. I want to give you a little bit of time just in case anyone needs some time to clear things up with me. So we'll do it the week of April 13th to the 17th if we're still online. The literature review paper is going to be due the very end of the semester. So it's going to be due, whatever it says in the syllabus, it'll be the same date. I don't remember off the top of my head if that, I want to say the paper is due, I want to say on April 30th for my Tuesday, Thursday class and May 4th for my Monday class, but it might have been May 4th and May 5th. So it's not going to be due for a little while. You will submit the paper to me on Canvas, just like you're submitting an assignment. So like if you load up the document for step 3, it'll have the instructions just like step 2 did. You're just writing an essay basically for step 3. It's not exactly the same. You're not submitting a research worksheet, you're writing a paper. So the form for step 3 has instructions, and on the very end of it, it does have a blank research worksheet for you to do for your second article. But you don't have to submit that. I'm not going to grade that. That's just for you to complete. And I encourage you very much so. I encourage you guys to do that in bullet points, because that's going forward in the future. That's probably how you'll be writing those up. Like I said to you guys, when I'm doing research, if I'm writing a literature review, I'm going to do a research worksheet on everything I'm including. So maybe 20 different articles. I'm going to write a research worksheet for each one of those 20 articles, but I'm going to do it in bullet points and freehand. So every single research worksheet takes me 10 minutes to write up. so it doesn't end up nearly as time consuming as the first one might have for you. So I'll encourage you to do that. Take the 10 minutes to write that up for the second article. But that I'm not going to grade. I'm only going to grade your actual essay. And in the essay, it'll be a normal traditional essay. You'll have an introduction and conclusion, and then you'll have information about Article 1, information about Article 2, and then putting them together. It's not just comparing and contrasting, but you will be doing comparing and contrasting. But it's talking about what makes them important together. Hosting a whole class on the Zoom app is going to be really tough because everyone has different internet speeds. Some people don't have webcams. I can definitely do a class that I'm talking about a topic, but doing that it's, thinking the idea of it being on Zoom, that everyone is there for that. It does. Online classes they kind of have to work asynchronous. It would be really, really tough to say, all right, everyone in my Tuesday, Thursday class has to be here at 11 a.m. to do this because, well, one, it can easily be done at other times, right? Like what we're doing in the live stream right now. If you guys come in and you have questions about the PowerPoint for social, I can spend this video just talking about whatever questions that you guys have for social. As much as I would love to get everyone in the Zoom app to talk about social for a little bit, it's going to be tough because what's going to happen, realistically, everybody on a conference call has probably done a conference call where you go onto it and you just don't pay any attention to it. So rather than testing, can you use Zoom? Do you have a webcam? Does your internet speed support having Zoom running? Because Keith had just mentioned that it takes a little bit more internet speed than YouTube. And then having people still be zoned out doing something, playing a game on their cell phone the whole time. It works better. The one thing that I've learned from my trainings for online classes is when you're doing things virtually, I'm going to go with 10 minutes of people paying attention at a time. But realistically, the research says it's about 5 to 8 minutes that you will have a student's undivided attention. So when you can post a 3-minute video of something and do like 3 of those videos, you'll get more people that are actually paying attention to the entirety of the video than if you post one 10-minute video. And the thing that every, I think, professor probably has done when they started teaching online is post a hour-long lecture. I used to do 50-minute podcasts for every topic for Intro to Psychology. And before, now it's easier to get the analytics of it. So like with a YouTube video, I can actually see when people actually zone out, when they close it down and things like that. So it's not just how many people view it. I could see when people are, clicking off and things like that. And you definitely see a correlation to 3 to 5 minutes. There's a wave of people that click away. And if it's longer than 10 minutes, people start to leave or possibly even just mute it and not pay attention to it or zone out. So I really don't know, as much as I would like to say that doing Zoom as the whole class together would work. I think there's a reason why online classes don't do that normally. I think there's a reason why online classes work asynchronous, and I think that goes into it. I just don't think you get people's attention span. So I think I'll have more success getting you to watch a 10-minute video that I'll post whenever you want on your own time. It can be something that you watch right when you wake up. It could be something that you watch right before you go to bed. It could be something that you're watching the news for an hour and you're like, oh my God, I can't deal with the news anymore. I need a break. And you watch a 10-minute video of it. I think I'll have more success with getting you guys to actually watch that. And then what I'll do is, if anyone doesn't understand social still from what's in the textbook, from what's in the PowerPoint, from the video lecture that I do, and from the crash course psychology video that I post, if you're still struggling with something, for example, maybe you're struggling a little bit with attribution and what the fundamental attribution error is, because I don't take a lot of time on that in my video lecture. And the crash course video does go into that pretty well, but it doesn't do only that. I can then say, hey, I can post an announcement for everyone. Hey, anybody who's interested in just having a live stream talking about this, why don't we hop in for half an hour and we'll just talk about this a little bit more. Or in one of these live streams, I can go over something with social psychology a little bit more. Or that's when I can also do the one-on-one things with Zoom. But I don't think doing it as a group with Zoom, I don't think it'll work too well. Eve, post what on Canvas? Oh, you said never mind right up to that. Sorry, I was just catching up with the chat. Carmen, I think the movie posters, I think what I'm going to do is cancel the assignment, but give you a place that you can, if you already have worked on that movie poster, a place where you can do that assignment instead of a different assignment. So for those who have worked on it, what I really don't want to do is basically have someone that spent maybe 2 hours of work or 3 hours of work on it already, and that work was just all for nothing. That I would hate to see happen. So I could do it as extra credit, but the problem, doing it as extra credit, I don't love that idea because then, it's saying to people that, oh, I'm just behind if I don't do that now, and that's a really involved extra credit assignment. So what I think I'm going to do is when we get to personality, I think I'm going to give you the choice between doing the assignment for personality or submitting to me the movie poster. So that way, for those who have spent a couple hours doing the movie poster, you can just submit a picture of that to me. And if you didn't do it, you just answer the personality question. So you're not behind by any means by doing that. That's what I'm leaning towards. But the poster itself, I just don't think it's going to work very well in an online setting. The way that I have it structured, there's too much involved with the defense. So I can just have you submit the poster, but the defense is what I actually get your knowledge of a psychological disorder. It's not really the poster that I get that from. So as far as the assignment, I kind of need the discussion and defense of it. And I don't see that working well on a discussion board. It's too involved for a discussion board. The exchanges on a discussion board have to be a little bit more straightforward, not quite as research driven as that would be. So because I can't see that working, I think I'm going to cancel the assignment, give you the option between submitting that or the essay for personality. And then for the poster, that's part of the research worksheet. And if you're in my Monday class, you don't have the movie research poster wasn't in that class. For the research assignment for the poster, we're still talking about how we're going to do that as a department. So I can't really go into that just yet until we figure that out, how we want to do that as a department. But right now, it seems like a lot of options are on the table for that. But that'll be due at the very end of the semester as well. That'll be the last thing that's due. Well, that or the final exam. But that's all of that information is what I'm hoping that next week I'm going to be able to give you everything for the rest of the semester. So I'm hoping that I have all that information next week for you for an official, this is how we're doing things for that. And then I'll just post the extra information about the assignments after that. Because if, let's say I can finalize the schedule for next semester, for next week, that means next week I'm going to be uploading a lot of content. So those videos I won't get to until the following week. So that'll definitely be a 2-week project for me. But that's when I'll get all that information going up for you. Anybody else have any questions? We're right at 3 o'clock, so I don't mind staying if you guys have any questions, but otherwise we're right about at closing time for the live stream for today. I don't know for sure. I think the rest of the semester will be online. That seems to be the direction from everything I've seen on the news. It seems to me that this lockdown is going to be going for at least a little bit longer. The school can't make a decision on that until the state kind of adds more information. It seems to me that if I was using my opinion on everything that I've seen, I think the soonest that we could be back in class would be the week of April 13th. And realistically, I don't know that that's going to be, but I feel like that's probably and at that point, the school very likely might say, if we maybe can go back in on April 13th, we would be maybe going back for 3 weeks, realistically, probably going back for 2 weeks. So I think we'll probably have a determination next week on what we're trying to do. So my goal, my hope, I shouldn't say my goal, my hope is that next week I'll have the information that I can officially say yes online the rest of the semester. And then I can load everything up for you, because I don't want to do this week to week with you guys. I know that's frustrating for you, and it's very frustrating for me as well. So I'm very much hoping that we can, with some confidence, go that direction next week. But for today, it's still up in the air. What I can tell you for today is that we will be online next week as well. And that's definitely something that as soon as I have the information, the first thing I will do is post an announcement for you guys that we have the determination. I'll say in the announcement, I'm going to need a little bit to start getting information updated for you, but I'll let you guys know on a Canvas announcement as soon as that determination is made, if and when the school does update that information. I suspect that will come early next week. I think the last day of March or the first day of April is probably a very good target for them to make that determination. Any other questions for right now, though? Yeah, now it's even less. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to hang out in here for a couple minutes in case anyone has any last minute questions. But if you guys don't have any questions, you guys can start logging out. I'm going to do this again on Thursday, 11. What am I doing? 11:30 to 12:30. Is that what I scheduled it for? I don't remember the times that I scheduled it for. I think it's 11:30 to 12:30, and then 1:30 to 2:30, if I remember right. If you guys, something doesn't work by a few minutes or something with either of those, let me know. I'm for the most part very open to when I'm doing these with everybody. But I'll be doing these again on Thursday. I'm gonna right now be continuing that every Monday and Thursday. I'm gonna do them. Mondays always be 2 to 3. Thursdays I do that. I'm gonna do them twice with the lunch break in the middle. And I'm also available whenever we might need it on a different day or something like that. You can always do this. It takes me, now that I'm comfortable with doing the live streaming, I can get this up and running within 2 minutes. If I got an email that we needed to do this, or we schedule a phone call and we need to do something virtually like this where you can see me, easy to do it. So for those who are interested in joining these regularly, I'll see you guys on Thursday. Otherwise, shoot me emails. However you guys get in contact with me normally is totally fine, whether it's email, Snapchat, or however we have things worked out. Yeah, I'm going to hang out in here for a couple extra minutes just in case anyone does post a question. Have a good day, Carmen. So if you have a question, let me know. But otherwise, I will probably be closing this in like 3 or 4 minutes. The Olympics are going to get postponed. I feel like that was a matter of time.
You don't need a bill that is going to provide no strings attached bailouts to corporations who are just going to take the money and lay off their workers anyway. This is $2 trillion, Jake. This is 10% of the total GDP of the country. We should spend it right, and we should make sure that it actually gets relief to hospitals and nursing homes and states that are on the front lines. So we don't have a bill right now that actually solves the problem, which is a public health crisis that's creating an economic crisis. And so we should spend the next couple hours making sure that we get it right, not pass a bill that has the pockets of corporations and doesn't actually address the public health crisis.
Well, look, I certainly understand Democrats wanting to make sure that any company getting billions from the federal government or millions from the federal government, that those companies have to keep workers on board as much as humanly possible. But I guess the question I have is, you describe it as a bailout. A bailout is when an industry screws up, makes mistakes, does things wrong, and needs rescuing. These corporations, whatever you think of them, they're responding to a pandemic. They haven't done anything wrong.
Well, in the case of the airline industry, for the last 20 years, they were using all their available cash in order to pad investor and CEO salaries instead of building a rainy day fund. And so we got to make sure that they don't take this money and use it to further pad CEO salaries and investor paychecks. That would be a dereliction of duty. But the problem is not just on the business side of the ledger here. The problem also is that this bill doesn't actually have enough money to stop the virus. And my worry is that Republicans see this as an economic problem, not as a public health problem. There's no amount of stimulus that you can give to families or businesses that will get the job done if you don't stop the virus. And this bill just shortchanges states and municipalities and hospitals and doesn't address the public health crisis. We need to get that right first and foremost.
Mr. McConnell says Democrats are making 11th-hour demands, including a tax credit for solar panels, collective bargaining rights, and that's what's some of the sticking points. Why would Democrats be pushing a tax credit for solar panels or collective bargaining rights?
So listen, my focus is on making sure that hospitals and states have what they need, that we don't do any of these no strings attached bailouts. That's where my focus is. And if those demands are met, then I will vote to proceed on this legislation.
I want you to take a listen to what Democratic Minority Leader Chuck Schumer told Wolfowitzer just a few days ago.
All right, guys, I'm going to log out. See you guys on Thursday or in emails.